Hey there, I'm your host Lisoi, and in today's video I'll show you how you can save and load your inventory. So let me show you what we'll get up to. Let's say we were to pick up 3 mushrooms and a rock, so we can see they're gone, and we can check our inventory, move it around a little bit, and then if we press Z to save the game, exit, come back, we still have those items in our inventory and the items are gone from the world. So let's also do the same with dropping these items. So we'll drop all 3, we'll save the game, we'll exit, come back, and boom, our mushrooms get spawned. So this also works for the containers. So if I were to pick up another stone, go to the container and drop 2 rocks in here, then save the game and exit, come back, and our container should have the rocks, and it does. So with that said, let's begin. Let's start by going into our content drawer, and over here, let's create a new folder called Save System. And in here, we want to create something called a game instance. We'll be using this to save and load our data because since the moment you open the game to the moment you close it, this is persistent in the background and it's going to know about the stored data and all that good stuff. So we'll be using it. So let's right click, go to Blueprint class and search for game instance. There we are. And let's call it pp_my_game_instance. So save this, and the first thing we should do is go to our settings, project settings, and if you go to maps and modes, we see game instance class, game instance. So change it from the default one to the one we created. Perfect. And if your game isn't loading at some point in the game, it's probably because you forgot to change this. So it's a good thing to do it at the very beginning. With that out of the way, let's go ahead back into the content drawer and right click once again to Blueprint class, and we'll get something called a save game. And we'll be using this to store our players' data, such as the inventory. Let's call it pp_save data_player. With this done, let's right click and create a new folder called structs, and we'll just organize our save system a little bit. So in here, we want to create a structure, and this will be called s_save data. Let's open this up and add our player data. So we'll come back to this later and add our level data to it, but for the moment we don't have to. And the type is going to be bp_save data, _save data player, object reference. With this complete, let's save. And next, we'll go back a folder and we want to right click Blueprint class once again, and we'll create something called a blueprint interface. So this will just keep our stuff more organized as well. bpi_save system, like so. In here, we'll create some generic functions that we can use in like our game mode and our game instance. So let's start by calling this get save data, and get save data is going to have an output of our let's just call this the save data, and this will be the structure of all of our, let's say, player data, level data, all that stuff. So s_save data. That's all here. Then let's also create another one called load game data. This doesn't need anything. And let's create a new one called save game data. And with that, let's also put them into a category, which I'll call universal, like so. Universal. Okay. And I'll drag all of these as well. With this done, let's create a new one. And we'll call this save player data. And this can go into the player category, like so. And in here, we want to know about the inventories. So we'll do an input, and let's do inventory data. And this will be of type s_item slot, like so. Let's also create another one called hotbar data, because they're separate inventories, so we'll save them separately. And both of these should actually be an array. So let's change that. Awesome. So with that, let's compile and save. And let's go back into our save data underscore player. And here we want to do the same thing. So let's add our inventory data, which will be of type s underscore item slot. And this is an array. And same goes for the hotbar data. And it's already the correct type. Okay, so let's compile and save that and we can exit. Next, let's go ahead and open up our game instance like so. And in here, we want to implement this interface we just created. So let's type in bpi underscore save system. And let's start by implementing the load game data function. So in here, we'll do a does save game exist. And for the slot name, I'll type in slot1. We'll get a branch to see does it exist or not. Now, if it does exist, well, then we'll be load game from slot. And once again, the slot name is slot1. Make sure whatever name you put in here or a variable that it's always consistent, otherwise things will go wrong. So if we load the game from slot, we want to cast to the save game we created, which is our cast to save data player. Here we are. And from here, we'll promote to variable save data player. Cool. Now, if it does not exist, so false, well, then we'll be creating the save data. So type in our bp underscore save data underscore player. And once again, we'll just promote this to a variable like so. Okay, and we can comment this code, our load game data. And with that, we can actually call this on the init function. So we'll go to override and get init. And init is essentially the very first thing that launches when the game starts. So in here, we'll get our load game data, and you're looking for target is bp underscore my game instance. That's what you're looking for, the game instance. So that's at the beginning, and that's our load game here. Let's also, if we select this box, we can show the bubble, load game data. Next, let's implement our get save data. And all we want to do in here is we'll make from the structure and we'll implement our save data player. So later down the line, we'll have more things in here, such as the level, but we don't need to implement it inside the game instance because we'll be doing that inside of our game mode. So that's all it's needed here. Let's also comment this get save data, and we can make it bubble as well. Cool. Next, let's go to save game data. And in here, we want to do a save game to slot like so. And let's pass in our slot1 name. And the game object is our save data player. Let's comment this save game data, and let's also bubble it. Cool. So that's all we need inside of the game instance for now as the base. But next, we also want to implement the saving of our inventory. So for that, let's select our save player data. And in here, we have the inventory data and the hotbar data. So if we were to compile, okay, no errors, perfect. Let's get our save data player. And by the way, if you do happen to get an error in here, it's for some reason Unreal Engine doesn't like me, I think, because the structures are the same, the type. But let's say you did get the error, just delete it. Maybe create it again, switch the type to single and then back to an array. I noticed it while messing around, so just in case you had the error, that's that. Hotbar data. Compile that and back in here. Perfect, no issues. Okay, so from here, we want to do set inventory data, and we'll connect that in here like so. And once again, get it, and we'll do set the hotbar data, and this will update our inventory. It'll get the data we have saved and then update it. That's what I meant. There we go. And at the very end, we'll do save game, and we're looking for the save game instance, or the target is my game instance. So let's comment this and let's call it save player data. We can also bubble it, and if I compile, should be no issues. Perfect. Next, let's head over to our inventory. So content, inventory system, blueprint component, inventory. And in here, we want to create a new function called get inventory data. And let's also put it into a category to stay organized, save system, like so. In here, we simply want to do a return node. So add a return, and in here we'll have the s_item slot type array, and let's call it the inventory data. And we'll grab our get item slots like so, and put this into the return. And we can make this a pure function because we're only reading data. So we can do that there. And let's also create another function that we'll need, which is called load inventory data. Let's also drag it into our save system category. And in here, it's the opposite. We want to add a input of our s_item slots, which we already have. And the name we can do inventory data. Cool. So in here, we just want to set our item slots like so. And another thing we want to do is if you go to the event graph at the very beginning, you can see we're resizing this. So we also want to resize it after we've loaded our inventory. Let's go back, paste it in there like so. And there we are. And with this done, what we can do is on event begin play. Before we do this, let's give ourselves some space. And the first thing we'll do is we'll check, does save game exist? And once again, we're checking for the slot 1. And we'll do a branch. Now, if the game does, the save game does not exist, well, then we'll proceed and carry on as we did, like usual. But if it does, well, in that case, we'll get our game instance. And from here, we want to do get save data. And from the save data, we want to break open the structure. And we want to get our inventory data, like so. And then we simply load our inventory data. And this is the function we just made. And another thing we could do is do a isValid, because the data could be there, it's just not loaded in yet. So isValid, like so. And plug that into there. Okay, so that's all we need to do in here. Let's compile and save that. And let's head over to our hotbar component. So in here, something very similar. We'll go ahead and create a new function called get hotbar data. And let's also make this a pure and do a return. And we want to return the s_item slot array. And this will be called the hotbar data. So simply get your item slots and drag it into here. Cool. And did I put it into a category? I did not. So let's do that. Save system. And let's create another function called load hotbar data. Let's drag that also into the save system category. And in here, like we did before, we want an input of our hotbar data. And we'll set our item slots. And just like we did before, we want to resize our hotbar. So let's go into the inventory quickly, steal this code, come back in here, like so. And for the inventory size, we just want to make it 9, like our hotbar is, or whatever your hotbar size is. Just make it that value. And at the very end, we want to do a update inventory. And this is because our hotbar is always on the display and it's not updated as soon as we load into the game. So we just want to update that. Let's close this now, and we can close the hotbar, get hotbar data, and on event begin play, we'll do something similar like we did with our inventory component. So we could actually go in here and steal most of this code, if not all. Let's paste it in, and we're checking, does the save game exist slot 1? If it does, we'll do that, but let's do false first. If it's false, we'll just update our inventory simply. Okay, and if it does, we're getting our game instance, getting our save data, breaking this open. But instead of getting our inventory data and loading the inventory data, we want to get our hotbar data and then load our hotbar data, like so. Cool. So that's that. We can safely now compile and save. Next, let's head over to our content drawer. And if we right click and go to blueprint, we want to create something called a blueprint function library. Now this will save as our save library. So let's call it bp_save library. Let's open this up. And the first function we can have is save sound effects or save effects, whichever you prefer. In here, you can have something like a play sound to D, and we can do a print string as well to let us know the game has been saved. Let's just say game saved. Awesome. Next, let's create another one called a save player data. In here, we want to get our player character. And we want to cast to our third person character, like so. And from here, we want to get our inventory. So get component inventory. And we want to get our hotbar inventory as well, hotbar. Like so. And then let's go ahead and get our game instance again. And do save player data. And we're looking for the message. So the interface. And let's connect that like so. And if we do get inventory data, that's the function we made, which was pure. And same for the hotbar, get hotbar data. And plug this in. And this one as well. Okay. So that's that. And we can compile and save. And let's go ahead and add this to our controller so we can actually save the game. So content, third person, blueprints, my controller. So in here, grab a key of your choice. Now I'm just doing this quickly with a key Z. And unpressed, we want to save sound effects like so. That's the function in our function library. And we want to save our player data, which is also the function there. Let's compile and save and give this a quick test. So if we were to play the game and save it, we can see game saved in the top left. Now, if you select anything at all in your project and right click on it, show an explorer, and then select the project name, so which is inventory series for me, go to saved, save games. In here, we can actually see the slot that we created. So slot 1. And if you want to start from the beginning, you simply right click and delete it. So let's do that and play our game again. So let's give this a test. If we were to collect, let's say 4 mushrooms and 2 rocks, go here and maybe switch them around, press Z to save the game, exit and come back, and boom, our inventory is saved. Awesome. So next, let's go ahead and save the added and removed actors. Let's go to our content drawer and let's go to our save system folder. Now in here, we want to create an additional save game like we did for our player, and this one will be used to save our level. So let's call it bp_save data_level. Awesome. Now let's go inside and we want to create a variable called actors removed. And this will be of type actor, and this will be a soft object reference. Now this is a actor that may not have yet been loaded into the game, but we want to do something with it. So that's that. And we want this to be of array, of type array, because there will be multiple. With that, we also want another variable, which will be the actors added. And for this, we'll create a structure. So let's go to structs, right click, blueprint class, and we'll call this s_actors added. And in here, the first one will be actor. And this time we want this to be a soft class reference. Of course, an array. And another one will be a transform. Once again, an array. So this will be the actors added, and this will be the transforms of these actors. Transforms, perfect. So let's save that. And let's go into our structure, s_save data. And in here, we just want to add the new save type we created, which is the level data. And let's call this bp_save data level object reference. Okay, let's save that. And let's head over to our, so let's just save everything first, to our Blueprint interface save system. And in here, we'll add a new function called save level data. And we don't need to add anything in here. We just need to have that there. Let's compile and save. Next, let's go ahead and open up our third-person game mode. In here, we'll be loading and saving the level data. So let's open this up, and let's also add in our Blueprint interface, bpi_save system. And like we did with our game instance, we want to load game data and do a does save game exist. Now for the slot name, what we'll do is we'll get the current level name, and we'll promote this to a variable called level data, like so. Drag that in, and let's drag this in here. Next, we'll do a check. So get a branch, does the save game exist? Now, if it doesn't, so we'll do create save game object, which is our, this time, save data level. On true, we are going to load game from slot, and the slot name will be our level data, and we'll cast to our save data level game object or save game object, and we'll do promote to variable save data level. Awesome. With this done, let's also grab this guy and put it into here. So we set it, and let's comment this our load game data, and let's go to our get save data. Like we did before, we'll make, and in here we are only interested in the level data. So let's grab that, plug it in, and we can select this and hide all the unconnected pins. Cool. So that's that. And next, let's take care of save game data. So in here, we simply do save game to slot, and let's pass in our save game object, which is our save data level, and the level or the slot name, which is the level data. Okay, so let's comment this as well, save game data, like so. And we can make these bubble as well, just to be a little bit clearer. And with that, we can go ahead and implement the begin play. So as soon as this blueprint gets launched, we want to load our game data. So load game data, and this time we don't want the game instance, we want the third-person game mode. Awesome. And then let's save our level. So save level data. In here, we want to get our save data level and simply do save save game data, right? Or what did I call it? Save game data. No, that's right. It should be save game data. There we go. Okay, let's just comment this, our save level data. And we can also make this bubble. And with this done, in our functions, let's create our get actors removed. So we have an array of actors that we can populate. So let's grab our level data, and in here we'll do get actors removed. Oh, I never changed the actors added, so let's quickly go ahead and do that. In our save system and in our level data, we want to change the actors added to be a map. And this you want to be or rather not a map, a structure. So s underscore actors added. There we go. Should change that to a single s underscore actors added. There we go. So that's all you have to do for the actors added. Let's compile and save, and let's go back into our game mode. Now in here, with the actors removed, we want to do a for each loop. So for every single actor that has been removed, we want to do something with it. Now, because this is a soft object reference, we need to resolve it. So get resolve. And then we can destroy this actor, like so. And on completed, we'll simply do a return node, return, and we're done. We can also comment this, get actors removed, like so. And with this, let's go ahead and create another function called get actors added. So very similar, we want to get our save data level, get actors, actors added. We'll do a break, and for actors added, we'll do a for each loop. So for every single actor that has been added, we then will get a copy from the transform of this index. Let's reroute this if it lets me. Oh, did not. Oh, there we are. And from here, we then want to resolve this as well and do a spawn actor from class. Now the transform we already have here. So let's connect that in there. And we always want to spawn. So always spawn, ignore collisions. And let's also comment this, get actors added, and we can bubble it. Perfect. So let's compile and save this. And let's go ahead and add this at the very end of the load game data. So in here, we first want to get the actors added. And after that, we then want to do actors removed. Like so. Perfect. So once again, compile and save. We then want to populate the arrays we just made. So let's start with items. So every time we remove an item, we want to add it to the actors removed. So if we go to our inventory system, items, and our item base, we can search for a event destroyed. So every time this actor is destroyed, we'll get our game mode. Let's cast to our game, or not our game mode, our third person game mode. And from here, we can get the level data. And we can get our removed actors. And then we can add to our array. Oops. Like so, add unique. And the actor we want to add is ourselves. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. So let's do self, get reference to self, and this will resolve it. So this is going to add the actors to our array, our actors removed. But now we also need to add actors to the actors added array. So for that, we need to go wherever we're spawning them in, which for us is going to be in the inventory component and inside of drop from inventory. So in here, we're spawning these actors. So every time we spawn an actor, once again, we can get our game mode. Let's cast to our third person game mode. And from here, we'll do get level data. We'll get our actors added, if I can spell actor. Then let's do a break. And we want to add, not unique, just a regular add. We're allowed to have duplicates in here and do add, like so. Let's reroute this a little bit, so a bit more clean. And then for the class, we can get it from here. We have it right there. So let's copy this, drag it all the way out here, and plug it in, and the class will resolve itself. Let's also hide the sound effects, hide unconnected pins, and we can align everything like so. Okay, then for the transform, we have it here, spawn actor, get actor transform. And let's plug it in like so. Also rerouting it so it's a little bit more readable later down the line if we need to come back to this. Okay, with that, we should be populating our arrays. So the next thing is to update our save library. So let's go to our save library, which I don't have in here opened. So let's go to save system and save library. Let's create a new function called save level data. And for now, we want to get our game mode and simply do save level data message. Like so. And let's add this to our controller then. So compile and save, get our controller and do save level data. There we are from the save library functions. Cool. Compile and save. So let's erase our previous save. So we start from scratch, delete that. Let's hit play. My game just crashed there, but let's go ahead and hit play. We should be able to pick up, let's say, 4 mushrooms or any amount you want and a cube. And if we were to, let's say, drop these and save our game, then exit and come back and nothing happened. So let's see why that is. All right, so I found the issue. In our save level data, in our third-person game mode, instead of doing this, we simply want to do save game, and we want this to be our third-person game mode. So a small mistake on my behalf. With this done, let's compile and save. And I've cleared my save. So if we hit play, we have nothing. And if I were to collect 3 mushrooms and a rock, and then go ahead and drop these, like so, and we can drop a rock down here, then save our game, exit and come back, boom, our stuff is saved. Awesome. So the next thing, or the last thing that should be saved is our container. So let's go ahead and do that. Hey there, this is a post-production edit. After saving the containers, I have realized that it wasn't saving properly. Only the one container was saving and the rest weren't. So I devised a different way of doing it, and I'll take you through it right now. So let's open up the content drawer, go to our save system and into the structs. In here, we want to create 2 new structures. The first structure we'll call s_container inventory. And as its description says, we'll be saving the container inventory. So s_item slot, you want for the type, make this an array. And then for the name, we'll just say container inventory. Perfect. Let's save that and exit. The next structure we want is going to be a s_container data. So this is going to save the inventory component of the chest and the array. So in here, we want to add a bpc_inventory component, and we want this to be a soft object reference. And let's make this an array. Then let's add a second variable. This will be our s_container inventory, also an array. So for the name, we can give it the, let's say, inventory component. And then for the slots, we can just say container inventories. Yeah, there we go. Or let's even rename this to containers and save and exit. Next, let's go ahead and open up our save data level. So bp_save data level. And we want to add a new variable called container data. And for the type, we are going to do s_container data, keeping it as a single. And let's compile and save this. And next, let's go ahead and open up our bpi_save system. And in here, in the level, we just want to update the function we made previously. So in the inputs, we'll add our container data. And the type again, s_container data, keeping it as a single. Let's compile and save that. And with this done, let's open up our third person game mode, third person blueprints, third person game mode. And in here, we want to update the new function. So let's get the save data level and do set container data, logging that in there like so. Okay. And that's it. That's the save data level updated. Next, we'll go ahead and open up the container. So let's go to the inventory system, containers, and the container base. In here, we want to add two functions. The first one being get container data. Let's also put it into the save system category. Save system, boom. And in here, we want to get the game mode, and we want to cast to the third person game mode. So, and from here, we'll get the level data, get save data level. And then we want to get the variable we made. So the array rather, or the struct. So get container data. This is what we want. From here, we'll do a break. And we want to add to this, and we want to add to this. And what we're adding to the inventory component is going to be this. So inventory component. And if you drag in, it should resolve itself. So. But if it doesn't, just do resolve like so. Then we are adding the array. So once again, getting the inventory component, get item slots like so. And we can make from here and simply input the value there. Okay. So this is going to be our get. Let's also do a return node. And I want to return this structure from here. Let's also reroute it, make it a bit more readable for ourselves in case we need to come back to this later. Okay, and the container data is fine. So that's our get container data. Now we need to create a new one called load container data. In here, we want the input of the container data. So s_container data. For the name, once again, container data will do. We want to break this open. And instead of getting it, now we want to set it. So first of all, we want to find ourselves. So this inventory component. Once again, it should resolve itself. Like so. And if it does, we'll get a copy of this index. Let's also reroute that like that. Okay. Now from here, we'll do a break. And then we want to set this inventory component. So set item slots to whatever is in this array. And where's my execution pin? There we are. And after this, we also want to resize it like we are doing at the very beginning in here. So I'll steal this and I'll steal that. And at the very end, load this in here. And that's our load container data, I believe. So let's compile and save that. And let's also throw it into the save system category. And next, let's go to the event graph. And on event begin play, we want to break this like so. And first we want to get our game mode. I'm going to cast again to the third person game mode. Or whatever game mode you're using. So from here, we want to just get the level data. And we want to check, does save game exist? Now, if it doesn't, you know the story. We are just going to do what we did previously, just this code. But if it does, well, then we're just going to load whatever's stored. So in here, on false, we do this like we would previously. And untrue, we'll get the game mode. And we are going to get the save data like that. And we'll break it open. And then from here, we want the level data. So we want get container data. like so, and then do is valid as well. And then load container data. Okay. So that's that. And another thing I should mention is that the game won't have enough time to build the save data. So you will actually just run this code by default. So what we need is a delay. And a delay of 0.2 should be enough time for the game mode to build the save data. So let's compile and save that. And let's head over to our save library. Content drawer. Save system, save library. So in here, we're doing this, but rather what we want to do is cast to our third person game mode. And from here, once again, get level data, save data level, and do get container data. Then from here, whoops, should align, we'll do a break. And we want to clear our arrays. So clearing that and clearing this. Okay. Like so. And then we want to get all actors of class, which is going to be our chest, pp underscore container base, to get the parent. Do a for each loop. So for every single one that exists, we want uncompleted, we are going to save the game. And I can just steal that like so. Put that in there. And the container data can come from this guy. Okay. And just rerouting it, make it look a bit cleaner. And on loop body, what we want to do is once again get the container data. Now, if you want, you could go ahead and make this a pure function. We'll leave it like this for now. And from the container data, what I'll do is I'll break. And here is where I didn't really understand why this is happening, but if I remove something, it breaks. But once again, we just want to clear the arrays, and then it all works nice. Like so. And once again. Okay, so with this complete, this should be working. So let's compile and save, and let's give this a quick test. So let's clear any save data we have. So show in Explorer. Saved, save games. Okay, so nothing's here. So this is good for us. Let's hit play and collect some mushrooms. Let's do this many. And let's try and drop all of them here. Save the game, exit, come back, and boom, the mushrooms are there. So that's working. Now for the containers, and I'll take this a step further actually. Let's have two containers happening. Saving and loading at the same time. Collect some more of this, and let's drop a rock into here. Some mushrooms into this container. Save it, exit, come back, and hopefully that's saved. And this is saved as well. What if I want to remove it and put it into here? Save that, exit, come back. And happy days. So this was a bit of a longer video. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. And as always, happy developing.